there, boys and girls, What Culture Wrestling's Adam Clear here, and today I want to talk to you all about something very, very special. Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse. You see, gee gosh willy oh gosh geez oh, it's just such a strange thing, isn't it? It's a demented, inspired piece of work unlike anything else in professional wrestling, which makes its association with WWE scarcely believable. Isn't that right, random Santino Cobra we just have lying around the office? It sure is. How is it possible that in this era of WWE, in which Vikings are to be experienced, in which Lacey Evans gets a massive push in an era of advanced women's wrestling, in which the phenomenal Ricochet is now normal, how has it produced this totally deranged art under its abject, mass-produced entertainment model? It's as if Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer just won the Palme d'Or at Cannes with a dental lament on the Romanian psyche. I know, right? Yeah, so anyway, this week's very special episode paid tribute to yet another element of Bray Wyatt's former character, with a new model that's kind of based on Uta, the fat German lad from The Simpsons. Basically, right, we've seen him be this weird kids entertainer, we've seen him be sort of like Bob Ross, we've seen him be that weird fiend Slipknot looking Joker thing, and now he's Mr. Motivator. Yeah, so like resplendent in this garish 1980s attire with these Zuba pants and a bum bag, or a fanny pack if you're American. He wanted us to all do the Muscle Man dance after puppet demon Vince McMahon threatened to fire him. And this was just incredibly bizarre, wasn't it? Like, he danced, he rapped, he let his tailbone go. There was this weird primitive hip-hop, some squelching bass, some weird synthesizers, some bad skeletons, some really ropey green screen. It was fantastic. Incidentally, Adam Nicholas has done a version of this to Khalees's Milkshake, and it's still somehow better than this, but it's on his Twitter, go find it. And the thing about it is, Wyatt has willingly made himself look like a complete idiot in all this. He's a goofball, like he reads the lines all wrong, and the editing's weird, and the rhythm of it just doesn't understand how humans talk, and yet it is absolutely brilliant. Nobody else is doing comedy like this except for Bray Wyatt in WWE. He was flexing his muscles like a kid cheering on Hulk Hogan. He makes the exact same noises I do in bed, and yet somehow he looks less of an idiot than he did in 2017. Like, back then he was this patchwork horror movie villain who never ever won his feuds, and now he is brilliant. But the best things about all of these segments that he's doing are the weird tonal shifts that you suspect a lot of people might actually miss. Like, the whole idea behind this is that this madness is merely a surface layer for some kind of horrible monster lurking underneath. They are not quite blink and you'll miss them, but you've got to pay attention. Case in point in this one, after Wyatt asked us all to, and I can't believe I'm saying this, wiggle our behinds. That's how you do it. He then went completely deadpan and told us to, still doing it, erase our minds, and then the background all shifted to this weird 80s zigzag pattern, and we got the Fiend, which is the new character of his, in this state of mental anguish. And our admittedly completely subjective opinion on all of this is that he's trying to reference his old Husky Harris character. That is the Fiend trying to forget how bad all of that was. And there's a few little clues here and there which do just sort of suggest that's what this whole segment is about. The pig is called Huskus, the Pig Boy, which sounds a little bit like Husky Harris, and Demon Vince threatens to fire him if he doesn't get his act together. It's not concrete, but it's there. Now, of course, we could be miles off with that, and spoiler, we're not, but that's the brilliant thing about Firefly Funhouse. It is rich in its imagination. It is encouraging and rewarding the audience for speculating about what it all means, just like some kind of prestige television show that is rich in mythology. People really like doing this. What Bray Wyatt is doing here is atoning for his real-life disappointment as an out-of-shape wrestler by warping it in this weird new language, by reframing it as a funny part of his history. Like, this is Bray Wyatt getting himself into shape. Yowie Wowie. I haven't actually got this bit on my script. It just dawned on me right now. When was the last time we got to do a video on, like, speculating about the rich hidden meanings in a piece of WWE storytelling? This is impossibly creative. I love that I get to talk about this. You see, kids, and yes, I'm back on my script now. Everybody fancies themselves as a fantasy booker. The collective wrestling internet community constantly projects these ideas onto WWE that they think are either better than what we did get or what we're going to get in the future, because it's just like an essential part of enjoying the product. It is cathartic. But the real genius behind Firefly Funhouse is that nobody would ever have fantasy booked this. Nobody could have predicted this would happen. Nobody could have written this except Bray Wyatt. And the thing about him is that despite how badly WWE have used him over the last few years, he still has quite a lot of fans who are really excited for his return. I count myself amongst their number, but we wanted to see them just like do the Wyatt family again, or go back to being this creepy backwoods cult leader that got him all that buzz in NXT. Not one of us, not a single person out there went, you know what you should do? You should be this like really creepy gee-whiz children's TV presenter who shakes your hips. Only Bray Wyatt could have come up with this idea. Only Bray Wyatt. Crucially, not Vince McMahon. Okay, so the really, really good stuff. It's going largely underreported at the minute, but all of these Firefly Funhouse vignettes are being produced in collaboration with Jason Baker, who said on Justin LaBar's Wrestling Reality podcast that him and Bray are being allowed to just run with it. He also puts Bray over huge and says he's very, very smart, smarter than a lot of people give him credit for. I mean, some of the quotes from this podcast are absolutely brilliant. I mean, he goes on with, you think you're going to throw an idea at him, he comes back with 8. I've had the opportunity to work on films with Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise and Will Smith and a bunch of others working here in the Pittsburgh film industry. His mindset for his character development is on par with those guys. Russell Crowe, Tom Cruise, Will Smith. The Fresh Prince, Ethan Hunt, Gladiator. Now, you'll understandably read all that and think, wow, Bray Wyatt's actually really, really, really good at this. That's the big takeaway from that. But no, it's not. The big takeaway from that is that he's been given almost complete autonomy over the rehabilitation of his own character. So if you're wondering why all this stuff just feels really creative and un-WWE, it's because it is. And how he has rehabilitated that character is by literally taking the old one and just setting fire to it. Like Barker and Wyatt have worked with Tom Savini to create these puppet characters that feature in all of the promos, and they all represent a different element of Bray Wyatt's history. Sister Abigail is, well, obviously all that old Sister Abigail stuff, but the fact that she used to sort of like control his character, that was kind of the implication, was played out on the May the 13th episode where she saw his transformation into the Fiend and her jaw fell off. She couldn't believe that. Rambling Rabbit, and this is my personal favourite, is a representation of all of Bray's old gibbering promos. And look, he is literally long in the tooth. Mercy the Buzzard is like the Fireflies that used to follow Bray Wyatt but then really didn't do anything for his later matches and kind of found them all a bit boring. Remember, he even says, I despise Rambling Rabbit, which is like, because he killed him, because he hated. It's like the fandom of Bray Wyatt and the old Bray Wyatt, and that's why they don't get on. None of these props, none of these ideas were concocted by the ailing mind of Vince McMahon. And the whole premise, the whole thing underpinning Firefly Funhouse, why it is so good, is this idea that the old Bray Wyatt character was bullshit. And Wyatt visualized that message so brilliantly on this week's episode when he took a chocolate bar out of the mouth of Huskus, the pig boy, who was himself a representation of his old Husky Harris character. Now imagine for a second that Vince McMahon wanted to show you that the old Bray Wyatt character was bullshit. What would he have done? He would have given him a big old plastic bag and a pooper scooper, of course, a big see-through plastic bag so you could see all the poop in it, so you knew that it was full of poop, you knew that the message about this was poop, and he would have taken all the poop out and he would have put it on the entrance ramp, and there would have been a lantern, wouldn't there, drawn on the plastic bag, so you knew, because you're an idiot, remember, you would know then that it was Bray Wyatt's bag, and thus it was Bray Wyatt's poop, and Bray Wyatt would have put all the poop out, and he would have gone, look, poop. Now imagine that Vince McMahon wanted to make him dance in a segment. What would he have done? He would have had him tag with Carmella, wouldn't he? That's the only way you could think to do that. And let's say, what if he wanted to reinvent the character as a sinister cult leader? What would he do? He would have him go 50-50 in every feud and look like a dork. That's what he would do. And yes, I can hear you, Adam, why you're picking on creative again. And all right, fair enough, but pre John Moxley on Talk is Jericho, all of that was just an exaggerated joke that was kind of rooted in a bit of cynicism. But since we've heard what goes on behind the scenes now and how the creative process works and how they do these jokes and then Vince likes them even though they're terrible and the stars are like, I don't want to do that, it sounds awful. That is the stark reality of it. He would have He would have made him walk down the ramp with a bag full of poo to represent the fact that his character was bullshit. That's exactly how he would have done it, because it's good shit. Oh, and just in case you're wondering why Wyatt has introduced a puppet character of Vince McMahon in the segment where he's trying to get himself into shape, let us not forget that this is a man who has referred to Kevin Owens as both Cartman and the Michelin Man in relatively public forums. But the best symbolism in this by a goddamn mile, probably the best symbolism we've seen in WWE for years and years and years, is that they're puppets. Like, in Vince McMahon's world, every WWE superstar is a puppet. In Bray Wyatt's world, Vince McMahon is the puppet, and he won't even let him in the door. He just lets him peer through the creative window to see what's going on. He has shut him out. And this is where we have to start blurring the lines between the creative, wonderful fiction of all of this and the horrible reality of WWE at the minute. The real spectre lurking at the door, the real monster underneath the Firefly funhouse isn't The Fiend or Bray Wyatt or going back to his old character. It's literally Vince going, yeah, I'm going to start writing this now. This is a little bit too successful for my taste. I'm going to give it a bit of the old Vince McMagic. Yeah, so bottom line, enjoy this while you can, because it's really, really, really good, but we tend not to be allowed to have nice things for all that long when they're coming out of WWE. Anyway, let us know what you made of it all in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. In the meantime though, thank you so much for watching. I've been Adam Cleary. This was the only prop lying around the office, weren't you? And we'll see you soon. I've lost it. Have I lost it? I've lost it.